Kids, I'm going to tell you an inspiring story. The story of how I became a great toxicologist.
Are we being punished for something?
No.
Yeah, is this gonna take a while?
Yes. 12 years ago, before I was a mom, I lived a completely different life. My life didn't really begin until Miami, a beautiful, bright city filled with sunshine and exuberance. All my friends were there, your uncles, your aunts. The thing that really grounded my feet in Florida was the natural beauty of coastal wetlands. I was fascinated by every living creature, every plant, every animal, and every ounce of extraordinary life. I wanted to know everything that there was to know about nature. As I went to live on in Bogotá, I met new people and my perspective of the world changed. I began to really notice how urbanization was destroying the environment. How pollution from industrialization and the use of harmful contaminants were increasing diseases and disrupting ecosystems. I realized that I wanted to make a change, but the question was, how? How could I possibly make a difference? What career will help me protect the environment? Kids, when you're in high school, you feel all types of pressure to know what you want to do when you grow up. I was expected to immediately pick my major and pay big money to go to a state university, but all I wanted to do was to take it slow before choosing a specific career path. I decided to start smaller when I moved back to the US in Orlando at Valencia College. I took a class, the New Student Experience. Through a series of activities, I learned that my purpose was to embrace my strengths to gain self-confidence in order to pursue a challenging scientific career. The class helped me identify my most prominent strengths as a learner, an achiever, and a futuristic person. I saw that these skills can be used to withstand rigorous mathematical and scientific classes. My desire to achieve drives me to advance in my studies with persistence, diligence, and concentration. I am easily intrigued by learning new information. I'm constantly willing to read and research new ideas to feed my knowledge, which is an essential component in any scientific career. According to my AP environmental teacher, Ms. Kretzer, whom I interviewed for Career Insight,
the most challenging part of my current teaching and is the vast amount of knowledge that I really need to have within the science realm itself, because it is changing so rapidly and there's so much data that we're collecting.
I took this into consideration and pushed myself through demanding courses such as calculus with analytical geometry, chemistry with qualitative analysis, physics with calculus, and biology. Valencia provided me with all the resources I needed to succeed. Their tutoring and library services guaranteed I would receive excellent sources, and their faculty members provided me with the strong foundations I needed to move forward towards more complex classes. From that moment, kids, Mom was certain that she wanted to major in biochemistry to later pursue a PhD in environmental toxicology. Knowing I had the gift for envisioning solutions to real-life situations, I decided to use my abilities towards identifying problems in the environment and finding possible solutions. After receiving my general AA degree from Valencia, I pursued my chemistry degree with a focus in biochemistry at the University of Central Florida. I maintained a high GPA while at Valencia, allowing me to keep my Florida Medallion scholarship I received from high school. Using those funds, Pell Grants from the government, and money saved from my part-time jobs, I was able to pay for tuition. While studying at UCF, I worked in paid internships for a lab technician and a research specialist. I joined clubs relating to my profession and ones encouraging women empowerment in the STEM field. Because I was involved in extracurricular activities during college, I made connections with industrial companies. One of these companies hired me, and I worked to ensure that their products were safe to use to avoid adverse health concerns on humans and the environment. I loved waking up early in the morning, driving to the laboratory, putting my white coat on. Most people would have hated working in a closed environment, but I loved every minute of it. Performing experiments, recording data, endlessly reading through scientific journals, and imagining ideas that would protect humans and animals from chronic diseases like cancer. At 25, Mom took the big risk to move to Santa Cruz, California, and resign from her job.
What?
I know it was a pretty rash decision, but it was one of the few universities that offered the doctoral degree I wanted. I miraculously found a job similar to the one in Florida and eventually saved enough money to go to the University of California. With the help of government loans and grants, my independent research on alternatives to endocrine disrupting pesticides successfully led me to my PhD. I was no longer a Mrs. at 29. I was a doctor writing scientific editorials with my own extensive research, persuading public policies, and working with private companies to design secure products. Which brings us to the present. You see, kids, Mom wasn't able to become the person who she is today without hard work and dedication. It took time for me to become confident in my abilities to put myself through such challenging courses and complex material. 20 years ago, I didn't have the self-assurance I have now to take the risks I did to move my career forward. But ultimately, it was my love for nature that motivated me to work as a toxicologist.